Hey now, with a family of 6, including 4 kids with definite sweet tooths, as well as, well, I mean, let's face it, a couple of adults, I was really excited to snag this Ninja professional frozen drink maker. Now, something that initially drew my attention to this was the fact that you can make this without any ice, so you don't get any sort of dilution of the juice or whatever beverages you're putting on the inside. Something that did sort of cause me initial concern were some of the reviews where people were talking about difficulty with cleaning it and potential molding in the back. I mean, I figured there has to be a way around that, so I was willing to give this a shot. Let's take a look. Okay, just removing the straps here. Already cut into the tape. On the inside we have instructions. This looks like the base here that your cups would go on. This particular model here does come with a couple of cups. So we've got the straws, a rather weighty cardboard top here. And we got the unit itself. And it looks like one other small box here. Now with the unit out of its protective bag for transport, I'm just removing any of the tape that was on this unit during transportation. And I have popped the drip tray out of its bag as well. And of course, as would be standard practice with any unit like this, we are going to give it a good washing with warm soapy water and rinse it out. I'd also like to mention that there are plenty of stickers and instruction labels all around this thing for actually preparing this the first time, and then also things to look for during use. They certainly can be removed once you're completely familiar with them. I did actually remove the one sticker from the condensation catch here that just said to remove that for cleaning every time, just so I could kind of clean up the front end here. Now, as part of the cleaning and preparation for this Ninja Slushie, I put the warm soapy water inside the main vessel here, got it all scrubbed up. I also pulled the handle for the pour spout here forward so that that water flowed through here. And then once I got the warm water to rinse, I did the exact same thing, got all the soap out, ran it through that pour spout. I also got the auger here all cleaned up as well. You've got here this condensation catch that just slides out once you remove the main vessel itself. Also, I did clean off the evaporator here, this big stainless cylinder. Everything is cleaned, rinsed, dried off, and ready to reassemble. So first of all, the condensation catch will go in. We'll get our auger back on. We'll install the vessel itself, and then the handle on the top here locks down, presses it up against there, and we are ready for use. As far as all the paperwork goes here, there is a quick start guide that does have some basic recipes and instructions for you. There is a detailed instruction manual that does explain care, maintenance, troubleshooting, tips and tricks, all of those sorts of things. And there's also a great recipe book here with over 10 recipes and just different ideas to sort of get started on your Ninja Slushie journey. And before we go to use this anytime, you do want to be aware that this needs to sit in place for at least 2 hours prior to plugging in and turning on. It's similarly to if you move a freezer or a refrigerator or anything like that, you have to let everything sit still upright in its proper position for a while prior to use. Now, using this for the first time here, we're going to make a frozen mango juice slushie. So the machine is all set up and ready to go. The liquids always go through the easy fill port up on the top here. I have this mango nectar actually pre-chilled down. That's just going to help speed things up. These Ninja Slushies come in a wide variety of models and sizes. The one that we have here is technically the 96 ounce, which is quite a large one. We want to be able to make a lot of slushies because we do have a large family. Now with the liquid added, we're going to plug in the unit. We'll press the power button. This does have a really easy interface here. We have several different preset settings, and we're going to go with the frozen juice setting. We're going to turn it on. And in the really handy recipe book here, it does show for the mango juice, you want to have it on the frozen juice setting with the single bar illuminated, which is what we have here. Now you are able to adjust the temperature settings here by pressing up or down on the arrows. For the mango juice, we do want it on the single setting. This also serves as an indicator for low sugar or excessive alcohol content in what you have going on here. Now for any of the liquids here, you do need to have at least 4% sugar in solution. There is a low sugar alert, and if that happens, you're going to have these lights lighting up in a descending order, and it'll be beeping once per minute. It also has a high alcohol alert, and what will happen there is if there's too much alcohol in here and it's not going to freeze properly, the lights will go up in ascending order, and again, it will beep once per minute. And now after about 25 minutes, you can see we definitely have some slushy action happening here. It's starting to get nice and chunky. I'll let this keep going. We'll just dispense here. It does come out quite quickly. This is a little bit smooth. Now, if we want, we can increase the coldness, which I guess is decreasing the temperature here, and get it to be a little bit more slushy-like. So now I have this on the 3rd temperature setting here, and you can see it definitely looks more slushy-like. Now, about 2 minutes after that, this did give the single beep indicating that it is at the optimal temperature and we are ready to serve, so let's do exactly that. And we'll dispense some of that. You can see it definitely comes out slower here. And I think this is more what we were after. Yeah, for sure. This is thick, it's smooth, it's almost sort of creamy in its texture here. That's amazing. Completely fresh. Again, not being diluted by that ice. This is just that unadulterated mango flavor. Well, and here we are. What we did here was make a margarita, simply following the instruction inside the Slushie manual. This mixed up really, really nicely. Quick and easy. See, it just pours out almost like a soft ice cream. Using one of these nice wide straws here. Oh, incredibly delicious. Having used the Slushie several times, I found that it's really easy to operate, really easy to make any sort of frozen beverage that you like. Around here, our kids absolutely love frozen juice out of the Ninja Slushie. For them, their favorite is frozen orange juice or even an orange juice blend. Now with that, it's really simple to make. You simply add as much of the juice as you want. In this case, I'm going to throw in a full liter or right around a quart. Again, as long as you're above the minimum fill line, you're good. Then closing it up, we can power on, hit the frozen juice setting. And when using the Slushie, I make sure that any of the liquids going inside, whether they are juice, whether it's some water, or if it's alcohol, anything like that, I make sure that it is chilled down before it goes into here because that reduces the amount of time it takes to freeze. With the frozen juice blends, sometimes I also like to add just a little splash of some grenadine, and that helps just sweeten it up a little bit more. For alcoholic adult beverages, the biggest hit around here has been frozen tequila sunrises. Now for that, what I've done is just, again, taken orange juice or an orange juice blend, had that and mixed it with tequila inside the unit here, and that would be 8 cups of the juice with 3/4 of a cup of tequila, and then I would put it on the spiked slush setting, and when I go to serve, I throw just a little splash of grenadine in the bottom of the cup, Slushie on top, and it's primo. Right around 15 minutes after firing this up here, the Slushie gave that little notification tone indicating that it was at the proper temperature. So with this frozen orange juice here, I'm just going to go ahead and dispense. Depending on the actual drink that you have going on there, sometimes it pours a little bit quicker or a little bit slower. Things such as alcohol content and whatnot obviously impact that. But here we are, and we've got our little beverage ready for tasting. So let's do exactly that. Nice, cold, perfect texture, and incredibly refreshing. Again, I recommend these wide straws here for this, as it just makes actually slurping up your drink quite a bit easier. When I first looked into getting the Ninja Slushie, the main concern that I saw with people was that they were having a hard time cleaning it properly and they were having some mold issues inside of this main housing here. But honestly, in my experience, having used this for a few months now, is that you got to be careful in how you clean it, but it's really simple to do that. And as long as everything's getting air dried properly, there is no mold issues. It's just about cleaning it properly. So I'll show you how I do it. To start off, as soon as I have as much of the liquid out here as possible, I'll just take a jug here of some clean water, I guess as opposed to dirty water, and I'll just fill it right up. And I'll typically fill it almost right to the very top. I'll go past that max fill line here for this part of the process. That max fill line is on there largely for when you actually have this freezing stuff, because it winds up sort of getting a little bit higher up towards the top here, but because we're not going to be freezing this water, that's not a concern. So once you have that filled up, I'll just put it on the rinse cycle and let it go with that for several minutes here, and that's just going to help loosen anything, any little bits perhaps of like fruit pulp or anything that might possibly be inside this device. After that cycle, I will just drain that water out. I usually like to use just a large bowl for that, as I'm not worried about the height of my pitcher or anything like that. We'll get pretty much all that water out of there. Then I'll just go with a drop of some dish soap there. And then I'll fill it up, typically with some warmer water. Again, because we are not getting this frozen, you can go higher than you normally would. We'll put that back on the rinse cycle. After several minutes, I once again drain out, this time the soapy water. Now, I certainly wouldn't just leave my cleaning at that point here, because it still is possible that you might have something sort of stuck in here somewhere. So once again, I put just a little bit of dish soap in there. We'll add a little bit of water. And then I like to scrub out the inside, which you could do with a little scrub brush, or I even just like one of these sort of gentle scrubbies. We work into all of the corners here, just making sure that nothing remains in there, no particulate of any kind. And then I'm just going to run this off into the sink and give it a really good rinse. Now with this really nicely rinsed out, I still have some water that I left in here, and I'm going to run it through the faucet just to make sure that there's no soap left in there. And we'll set this aside. Now also with some soapy water here, I'm going to completely clean off the plastic auger and then rinse it as well. We'll also just use this little scrubby here to clean off our little condensing cylinder here. And then lastly, we'll also clean out the tray here. Then just using a towel, or in this case a paper towel, I'll dry off this here completely. Make sure it's nice and clean. And then perhaps the most important part of this entire cleaning process is to let everything get 100% dry. Air drying. Initially, I'm just going to set this on a drying rack and let gravity sort of do its work to get most of this out. And then afterwards, I'll lay it on its side and I'll make sure that every single drop of moisture is in fact gone. Of course, let's not forget to clean out the drip tray as well. 24-hour time travel. We are now in the future. This is what I mean by bone dry. Okay, completely dry. Not any condensation, no moisture, no evidence of water whatsoever. I also, of course, make sure everything else did that. One thing I should have mentioned there too is that this just does pop right off here, and it's easily cleaned as well here, but also gives you a little bit easier access to cleaning out that valve there. Everything's dry, so it can be reassembled like that, and flash back to the past. So there you have it, unboxing, testing out, cleaning, very importantly, cleaning, and I guess perhaps even more importantly than that, enjoying the Ninja Slushie. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I would definitely recommend this for people if you're looking for some sort of a frozen beverage option. I really like the fact that you don't need ice or anything like that for this. You just need the beverages that you're wanting to freeze themselves, so you don't have to go and buy a bunch of ice or have an ice maker necessarily or anything like that in order to enjoy. But either way, till next time, keep your frozen beverages at 11.